Dad, what's that odd face they keep showing on the news, and why does it seem to frighten everyone? Is the apparently harmless question numerous children have been posing to their parents lately. As a dad, he realized it was bound to happen eventually. In line with his spouse's wishes and contrary to the sugar-coated consensus among local parents, they'd share the truth, but only when prompted. That moment had arrived. Son, we were like numerous other uncontacted civilizations in the galaxy. We considered ourselves masters of nature, with technology enhancing our lives tremendously each generation and scientific progress expanding the limits of what our forebears believed possible. When we brought together the extremely large and the extremely small in science, we uncovered the subspace communication system. You mean the quantum link, Dad? Indeed, my boy, the very same. We had believed we were alone in the galaxy, but once this new communication channel opened up to us, we discovered that the universe was teeming, absolutely brimming, with intelligent life. We couldn't comprehend anything that was being transmitted, as it was in alien languages and often encoded, or at least that's what we surmised, given how intricate and seemingly random it appeared. Immediately, our species became frightened and shut down the system, not realizing that due to the very nature of how the quantum link system functioned, it was a two-way connection. We can hear them, they can hear us. The vastness of space meant that, although they could swiftly reach us, without a map of our location, they would likely never have discovered us. Panic and subsequent unrest broke out across the globe as the communication signals grew stronger and concentrated on our planet. Then they arrived. The astrals, but we like them, don't we? Indeed we do. Since the dawn of our self-awareness, we have pondered what the others might be like. Initially it was plant spirits, then gods, and as our technology and science advanced, it was aliens. Well, as you're aware, that question was answered a few brief years before your birth. Some individuals have returned to worshipping the gods of old because the astrals were generous. They provided us with technology and revealed wonders after we permitted them to link to our global knowledge network to learn how to interact with us. In fact, they were so generous that some of our politicians grew suspicious about why this was the case. We became stubborn, delayed signing agreements, and at times outright refused to collaborate. The BIVECT, at the request of the Interstellar Cooperative Alliance, ICA, clarified why. Prior to the ICA's formation, roughly 1,000 of our years in the past, the galaxy contained smaller factions, groups and alliances. Some of these assisted emerging species, some impeded them, and others, well, they simply annihilated. The Vex, right, Dad? Yes, son, please don't interrupt this next part, it's very important. So, the Vex were well known as takers. They wouldn't even request cooperation and instead simply descend on a planet, destroy, and take whatever they desired. One day they came across an advanced world that had recognized the implications of their science and the subspace communication possibilities. Not knowing what was out there, and realizing that quantum link technology would be two-way, they all chose to advance their technology before entering the galactic stage. A wise decision, you'd think. Except, by this point, the Vex had learned to detect the faintest interstellar warp signals. This species they detected were an ideal candidate for conquest, advanced enough to have extracted significant quantities of raw materials on the several local star systems they had colonized, but not known to the wider galactic community. No one would know or object. You see, the Vex had inevitably started several wars and were feeling a lot of political pressure to stop doing what they were doing. Of course, they made a lot of powerful friends very wealthy, so the pressure never amounted to much change. But it all changed when they hit K-47 Gamma, a small but significant colony of this new species. In an instant, darkness fell everywhere. The universal subspace communication system, across the entire expanse, stuttered and ceased for almost a full day. The reason? A jamming signal of unprecedented power and scale beyond anything previously imagined. Faction engineers and scientists swiftly worked to filter it for nearby star systems, and communication was partially restored by day's end. Beyond core systems and key military bases, The blackout persisted for just over a week. As abruptly as it began, it ended. The quantum link exchange servers throughout the galaxy nearly buckled under the flood of wild speculation about what had transpired. A bright, albeit small and persistent signal then emerged from the heart of the Vex system. The various factions rushed to the self-operating beacon. What they witnessed horrified them, and it was a scenario that was mirrored across every Vex system, both known and even some clandestine ones the rest of the galaxy had been unaware of. Their star had been intentionally compressed into a diminutive black hole, eliminating the primary energy source for the Vex, or most worlds, as we all utilize our stars as the main source of energy. The planet had been scorched, which was only uncovered after excavating through a kilometer of ice that had formed as the planet froze, lacking a luminous star. Nothing remained, and no one understood what had transpired. As the different factions arrived at the Vex homeworld, 36 additional subspace beacons lit up simultaneously. These represented all the other Vex colonies. Further investigation showed the identical fate of every single one of these worlds. An entire species, sophisticated and skilled in combat and dispersed across light years, eliminated without a trace, in just over a week. On the final post-Vex world they explored, a last beacon activated. With trepidation, the factions traced it, uncovering a formerly hidden military Vex planet. They discovered the system's star remained intact, and the world was still whole, though devoid of inhabitants. This was solely for one purpose: to shed light on the message etched into the scorched earth of the largest landmass. The communication described an assault on numerous planets, clearly demonstrated by the devastation across all 37 Vex worlds. It hinted at destructive technologies previously unheard of in the galaxy, and issued a caution against approaching the central spiral arm of the galaxy. The most chilling image etched into the surface was what we now consider this species' death face. A large rounded top, two vacant forward-facing eyes, a deep central indentation split in two, and an apparent mandible with a row of teeth connecting the upper and lower halves of the face. Emotionless, yet horrifying. Beneath this unsettling image, in almost every common galactic language was, we believe, the name they call themselves: human. It took only one solar cycle for unanimous agreement on three things: to never ever go near that region of the galaxy, to join together into the ICA, via the ICA, greet all newly discovered species in the galaxy with kindness to prevent such occurrences in the future. However, caution these new species about the human shadow that exists in our galaxy. The humans, a foe who employs their death face as a warning, an adversary we know almost nothing about yet possessing seemingly limitless destructive capabilities, have, unintentionally, ushered in peace and unity to the galaxy through their formidable power. Some wish to express gratitude. The Vex were never reliable allies anyway, but all are too fearful to venture there, as any ships accidentally lost are never heard from or seen again. Now, we allow them to exist in peace on their own, but ensure that everyone is cognizant of what and where they are. Dad, how do we make sure the humans don't get us? Avoid approaching Quadrant 2 of the central spiral in the galactic disk, and prevent others from attempting to do so. As the galactic factions, alliances and loosely organized yet influential groups converged on P92F, the final Vex stronghold laid waste by humanity, just a handful ventured to pierce the planet's atmosphere and touch down on its surface. Their discovery altered the fate of the cosmos for a millennium of cycles. It was the smallest of the alliances that ventured, the Sarlect. This was a faction who were being largely shunned for their compassionate ideology. Had they not been situated in a sector of the galaxy rich in lanthanide-abundant meteor fields and helium-3 gas, plus the sophisticated technology to extract and process these resources, they would likely have been disregarded. That was not the case, however, and their material wealth enabled compassionate and empathetic policies for those under their governance. Virtually none of their people went hungry. While most of the more powerful factions in the galaxy were generally indifferent towards the Sarlect. They remained passively hostile and never assisted a Sarlect frontier mining outpost when the Vex attacked. A raid that plundered all their extracted resources and even 20,000-ton mining equipment. The Sarlect subsequently discovered said machinery being offered on the black market to their rivals. Once again, there was no authority to appeal to. The economic and political landscape of the galaxy was so fragmented and dysfunctional, they realized it was only a matter of time before it spiraled into a conflict of unimaginable carnage and misery. Thus, after the major factions had returned from P-92F to their homeworlds, leaving only a skeleton protection force, the Sarlect seized their chance and deorbited at the border between night and day to avoid detection. The journey to the scorched continent was not dangerous. There was no hazardous alien life or any hidden Vex. The planet was lifeless, it was unsettling, and the dead plant matter, never decaying, could be observed from space. A barren life world, the humans had done a terrifyingly thorough job. Fartek, the leader of the mission, swiftly made his way to the 20-kilometer-high phonetic spelling of human in Sarlect language carved on the planet's surface in fire and devastation. In the middle stood a stone, large from the viewpoint of a biological being, but far too small to be detected from the hurried and frantic satellite sweeps conducted by the factions. Beneath this rock, in almost flawless Sarlect tongue, Fartek uncovered the following inscription. Listen, sentient species of the galaxy. We are humans. We know enough about you to compose this message in your own language. We eliminated the Vex. This terrible threat has now been wiped from the galaxy because they had the audacity to attack us. We were satisfied, aware of others in our isolation, content to grow and improve ourselves until we felt prepared to join the galactic community. But our hand was forced. Through eons of evolutionary struggle, we had attempted to practice peace while simultaneously developing the most formidable destructive powers we could scarcely have imagined. If you have discovered this planet and the others, let that serve as evidence that this is not an empty threat. Be further cautioned, our abilities in response to the attempted Vex invasion have grown considerably. Never, ever attempt to enter our space-time, for nothing but complete annihilation awaits. A single exception, a one-time no-return emissary may enter using code 90R-RWF-SEF-TI. Few. Shaken, Fartek covertly made his way back to his launch vehicle, evaded the factional guard and returned home. Days filled with long evenings of discussion turned into weeks, and then months, of intense, heated and clandestine debate among the upper echelons of the Sarlect econopolitic elite. Some viewed the opportunity as a potential trap, a means to experiment and develop counter-weapons against their species. How else were the Vex eradicated so thoroughly? Others remained undecided, waiting for more influential members to take a stance. The most ambitious saw this as a pathway to realize their ideological aspirations. As ever present in human history, so too did Sarlect ideological dreams prevail, and a mission to human spacetime was authorized. Fartek, the hero of P-92F, volunteered and was swiftly chosen to lead. He would embark alone, as this was a one-way expedition. A constant, encrypted subspace connection was established between Fartek and Command. The purpose was twofold. First, the elite needed to be informed of the situation, and second, the location but not the content of their activities could be tracked by the other factions. When news of them dispatching an envoy to human spacetime spread, rhetorical outrage poured down on their world. This was too crucial an opportunity for the Sarlect, and Fartek continued on at their directive. "Entering the human code now, Control," announced Fartek, a noticeable quiver in his voice evident. "Confirm," came the monotone response. Sudden darkness across the subspace communication network, this instance lasting only a few minutes. Panic erupted. The factions reeled in terror at an attempt to enter human spacetime, and a prompt, but more crucially impartial, meeting was arranged, with all known sentient species invited. The Sarlect, being at the heart of the controversy, called and proposed to host the gathering. What nobody outside of the Sarlect elite was aware of was the content of the communication they had with the humans that occurred during the intervening blackout minutes. "Who goes there?" a cold, even more monotone voice shouted. "Powerful humans, I am Fartek, messenger of the Sarlect. I arrive peacefully without weapons. We uncovered your signal in the Vex transmission." "Fartek, greetings. We've been monitoring your species' communications since you uncovered the code. We anticipated that you would be the ones to journey into our spacetime. We have a proposal for you, which your leaders can consider. We have restricted all galactic communication except for this conversation and your vessel's link back home. They can hear everything. If a representative wishes to step forward, now is the moment." "Mighty Huma," a voice rasped, cleared its throat and continued. "Mighty humans, I am Krith, chosen leader of the Sarlect Alliance. We most respectfully await your proposal." Krith, of the Sarlect Alliance. For nearly 1,000 cycles we have been observing the subspace communication network, studying and interpreting almost everything we can about the various sentient species, their alliances, groups and conflicts that exist in our shared galaxy. We witnessed the warfare, devastation, and brief moments of empathy in the dangerous universe we inhabit. We did not wish to enter this arena until we felt prepared. This plan, regrettably, was interrupted by the Vex. Today we will not discuss what they inflicted upon us, but you can observe what we did to them. Do not undervalue our capacity for destruction. But also, do not undervalue our empathy. That is why, after thorough analysis, the message and code was only placed in your language. We understand who and what you are, and we present a resolution to your dilemma. "How can you—" Krith caught himself. "My apologies, what is our issue?" "Simple. You desire unity and peace, and we possess a method. However, it will exact a steep price now and numerous smaller costs in the future. For the steep price now, Fartek as emissary, are you prepared to spend the remainder of your 120-cycle existence among us in exchange for a plan of unity? Bear in mind, this is your personal decision, and a refusal will not lead to your world's annihilation." The display of Sarlect life cycle awareness discomfited Krith. Without hesitation or consultation, with command for strategic counterbalance, and much to Krith's dismay, Fartek responded, "Mighty humans, I never expected my return home. Unity is greater than myself, therefore, I willingly accept whatever fate you consider necessary for me." Krith need not have been concerned. "Precisely the response we were anticipating. You sound very much like our early astronauts. Zvart and the Sarlect Alliance, the galactic subspace communication has been deactivated. This will induce panic and fear. The rest of the galaxy is aware you dispatched someone to human spacetime. When we relinquish control of the system, you must quell the uproar with an offer to host the first galactic gathering. They will accept, because they will believe you have additional information on the humans after having sent one of your own into their space. This is and will remain true. Present them with the message we left on the Vex outpost, omitting the final sentence. Utilize the fear we have generated to unify the galaxy into the first democratic universal galactic council, employing our death face as the symbol of this fear. Use this council to ensure peace prevails and we are left undisturbed. Use Fartek's disappearance as evidence of the authenticity of our threat. He will naturally be cared for. Use the terrible force that we administered as fuel for the unity you have only ever envisioned. Above all else, never mention this communication. Powerful humans, on behalf of the Sarlect Alliance, we express our deepest gratitude. We shall implement your plan as specified. However, what about the minor expenses you mentioned? Utilize the code provided and contact us every 10 cycles regarding all matters and any information we desire to know that we haven't collected through our own methods. One day, we shall be prepared to show our life faces to others beyond Fartek, and we do not wish to be found lacking. The humans would be eternally revered, in secret by the Sarlect Alliance, who successfully executed the human galactic peace plan at great cost of time, effort, and material resources. The reverence kept hidden would persist for 1,000 cycles, a lasting peace maintained by fear of humans who permitted themselves to be demonized for this noble purpose spread throughout the galaxy. The dread maintaining the now delicate peace had grown tainted by leaders who possessed no first-hand knowledge of their forebears' hardships. Instead, perhaps even unavoidably, it had been utilized to oppress and dominate, to amass weapons and subjugate. Then the second significant blackout transpired, the scale of which hadn't been witnessed since the human incident. After a complete galactic standard day, the human death visage materialized on every video and holoscreen throughout the galaxy. Immediately afterward, an aged and hushed voice resonated across the cosmos. Sarlect Alliance of the Interstellar Cooperative Alliance, if you remain present, this is Fartek speaking. I have returned from human space-time and I come bearing a message. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.